Welcome back to the Morgan Streetman Show. It's time to go out there, and we're going to do a little debate of sorts today.
This is a fun one because, these guys, it's two gentlemen, and boy, they're having some fun with their lives. They're really looking at changing things. They're saying, look, in this world today, there are so many different things that you can just make up your own mind about and be your own person in whatever way you want to be, whatever that means. And these guys are taking that to heart. The first one, you got to love this story. This is a guy named Emil Ratelband. He's 69 years old in, official Earth years. Okay, he was born 11 March of 1949. But he lives in the Netherlands, and he wants to change his age. He wants to actually legally change his birth date from March 11th of 1949 to March 11th of 1969. Now, this makes a ton of sense, doesn't it? I mean, after all, as he says, we live in a time when you can change your name and you can change your gender. So why can't I decide my own age?
I like it.
I mean, and listen to, he's got some really good reasons for it. He says, first of all, I'm being discriminated against in my opportunities for employment. When I put in a resume and it says I'm 69 years old, I'm not getting the call back. Mm-hmm. If I could put on there that I'm 49, they'll call me. I'll have a shot. And you know what? He's right. That's true.
There's another arena where that would really help him if he was able to have a 20 years docked off his age.
Now, let's get to the real reason he wants to do this, right? Because he wants to be able to legally say on Tinder that he's 49 years old. And he's got a great argument for this. He says, look, my doctors tell me I have the body of a 45-year-old, and I really consider myself to be a, quote, young god. And do you know that with a face like I've got, I will be in a luxurious position if I could put that I'm 49 years old on Tinder.
And think about that perfect person for him. His soulmate could be out there, but she's just swiped right or left or whatever way because she didn't realize that actually, even though his age says he's 69, she'd really be attracted to him if she met him and realized 49 is really where he's at.
Well, you know what's funny about this is I wonder how he would feel if all the women that he's swiping on Tinder, pick different ages for themselves. Or maybe pick the different picture because you know what? I don't want to look like I look. I'm going to change the way I look, at least on Tinder, at least online. I'm going to look like I wish I looked. Mm-hmm. What's that called? Catfishing? Something like that, right? I don't know all the terms and ins and outs of the Tinder stuff, but I think it's something like that. Now, one thing I have to say that I like about this guy, because he's got a court case going, and they're going to decide in about 4 weeks whether he's legally allowed to change his age and change his date of birth and back it up 20 or move it forward 20 years, right? Now, he's a very funny guy. He's into weird stuff. He's like a motivational speaker, and he's into neuro-linguistic programming, if you know what that is. That's like by weird guys trying to program women to date them. Oh, wow. That kind of weird. You know about that stuff. I mean, back in the early 2000s when that got hot for a while.
Right.
There were TV
Tony
shows.
Robbins? Is that a Tony Robbins thing?
It wasn't. Well, Tony may try to use NLP in some other way, but I just remember it was like there was like The Game, and there were some books and stuff that came out about like how to get women. Back in the early 2000s, you just use these secret words and program them, and they love you. Anyway, this guy's a master at that, obviously, and he's really slaying it on Twitter. But I wanted to point out that at least he's not a terrible hypocrite, because he's saying if this goes through, he will renounce his pension. Which, in all fairness, in all fairness, he should. He should renounce his pension if he's going to be 49 again.
As we talk about this, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I can relate to that. A little age discrimination as a mom, where I was going through the process of going to all my doctor's appointments, and they really start to beat you down. They're like, well, because of your age, this can happen and this can happen. And I thought, as you're telling the story, well, I could have shaved 5 years off, and I wouldn't have had to be a maternally advanced mom, and I could have been a little bit more relaxed and not felt not targeted, but you know what I mean. But I wouldn't have gotten the appropriate health care. Yeah. I got the better health care because of my age. Well, so you have to take the good with the bad. We are what we are.
Well, the times are changing. I mean, 69 isn't what it used to be. You know what I mean? I mean, somebody who's 69 with a lifetime of modern health care may be in a lot better shape than somebody 100 years ago. Go ahead.
You know how you hear 40 is the new 20. This is the new that. This is new. So all that guy needs to do on Tinder is write the new 49.
There you go. There you go. And then they'll just leave it to them to guess. It's somewhere 49. Between 49 and 99, right? Somewhere in that range. Well, and here we have another story. This one out of, would you believe it, Japan. And this gentleman, I'm not even going to bother trying to pronounce his name. Maybe I will. Akihiko Kondo. Ooh. Akihiko Kondo. Mm-hmm. He's 35 years old, and he's married, or at least he thinks he's married, to a virtual reality singer named Hatsune Miku. She's an animated 16-year-old. Already I've got a little bit of an issue with that, with saucer eyes and lengthy aquamarine pigtails. You know, he spent almost $20,000 to have a wedding ceremony in Tokyo that 40 people attended. And as he says,
looks pretty happy in this photo.
He's very happy. Believe me, he is thrilled with his situation at 35 years old. She wakes him up in the morning. He has a doll version of her that sleeps in the bed with him. As he says, he thinks about her every day and has always been faithful to her. He also has a holographic device that she can also manifest in, that he paid about $3,000 for. That sits on his desktop. Now, what's interesting is that he got his marriage certificate from a group called Gatebox. Do you know that they have issued almost 4,000 marriage certificates for people like this gentleman who want to marry their hologram or computer program? Now, we're laughing at this, and we think this is funny now. And of course, I do want to point out that all of this started, the story does tell us, after difficult encounters with women as an anime-mad teenager. Okay, and this poor gentleman said girls would tell him to drop dead. Creepy otaku, he recalled, using a Japanese term for geeks that can carry a negative connotation. So anyway, as he got older, he felt like women were bullying him, and he never was able to make a connection with a real woman. But here's a woman who doesn't give him a hard time, doesn't bully him, never nags. Now, she can't clean up the dishes either yet, but that day's coming, of course. Now, I think this is interesting because he says he is a minority. He's a sexual minority. He doesn't want to date flesh and blood people, women, or whatever. And he says it's not right. If you're trying to talk a gay man into dating a woman, or a lesbian into dating a man, that wouldn't be allowed. Diversity in society has been long called for, and I believe that we must consider all kinds of love and all kinds of happiness. So how can you force him not to love the woman or computer program that he says he loves? And, of course, this question right now sounds very funny because, you know, he's got this little hologram on his computer screen. But what happens when it's an actual body? What happens when it's like an AI robot that basically looks like a person? I mean, maybe it's even close to being indistinguishable like they say it's going to be.
Oh, there will be human-robot marriages in our lifetime.
Can you marry? Can you marry a robot? And as this gentleman says, why not? Miku-san is the woman I love, and I love her a lot, and she's the one who saved me. Miku-san. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm having a hard time anymore coming up with a reason why he shouldn't be allowed to marry a hologram.
She sounds like a sweetheart.
I can't understand why the Dutchman shouldn't be able to drop 20 years off his age so he can get on Tinder. Boy, it's a brave new world. I'm Morgan Streetman, and that's the way I see it.